We're to learn the martial arts.
Big surprise. Huge surprise.
I'm starting to get in a bad mood, you know? Maybe it's like a mood swing, my hormones, I don't know. You know, maybe it's my need to impose my will.
Good evening. You're listening live to the Xtreme movie show, Kickin It. I'm your host, Rob. My guest at this time is the real Dr. V. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
I have a medical prescription I'd like to see if you can have or fill out for me because I've really been, down in the dumps. I haven't been feeling too good about movies this entire year. I know when we go to do our top 10 Tuesday tonight, for 2018, it's not going to be that fun. I don't have 57 movies to rank. I just have maybe 8, 9, or 10. But what was that, doctor?
Hold up, boy. You need a prescription for more cowbell?
No, I need a prescription for more Hot Rod because this is the movie that we're going to be talking about tonight, sir. Have you ever seen this before?
Yes, once before. When it came out.
Okay, I saw it a while ago when it came out, and I found myself wildly entertained by it. And so we were talking, and we were in a stupid mood the other night when we were reviewing Dead Rising, or Deep Rising, I should say, with Treat Williams. And so for some reason that triggered Hot Rod with Adam Sandberg from 2007, the SNL guy who's doing, I think, Reno 9/11 or whatever the show is. And so we committed to it, and I went to watch it, and I went, wow, I hope this isn't one of those films that I idolized or liked or was in a great mood, and now I'm regretting it, and it's kind of not that good. Or, haha, this one scene's funny, the rest sucks. Because no, it's even better, sir. This movie is fantastic. I haven't laughed this hard in years. What about you, sir?
Cool beans there.
I knew you were going to prescribe something like that. Yeah, so what's your take on Adam Sandberg just in general, though, before we get going into some of the scenes?
Well, I'd rather watch Sandberg than watch Sandler. Sandberg's this is a movie. They know they're trying to be stupid, and they take it to 11. They do not hold back on this. This is like people complain about Will Ferrell for doing this, but then they'll be like, "Oh, Andy Sandberg, I love that guy." I'm like, he just copies Will Ferrell, man. No, this is obviously takes place during the 80s, which really helps with the movie because if it had been like modern day, it'd been like would have been really dumb.
Yeah,
because he's got the little mini Blake
moped.
It's a pedal one.
Motor pedal. Yes, he does. And those were a thing. You did see him a bit.
So, it's just like there's situational humor they use in this. Like the one scene that always stands up from this, is where he's like doing the Footloose dance in the woods, and then he trips and then he falls for like 10 minutes. It's like they just keep going from scene to scene to scene, and you see a rigged, and then sometimes it actually looks like a person, like actual stunt man.
Yeah.
But man, but that's pretty insane. The whole point of this movie, if you actually watch it from beginning to the end, the whole point of this movie is not to raise money. It's just like the fact that he wants to kick his stepdad's ass. That's what it is.
Yeah, I was thinking if I was doing a cold open and say you were unavailable to review this with me tonight, I was thinking about how would I approach it, and I would just start talking, a little over the top, kind of like the movie, and say, this is more than just a lighthearted comedy movie. This is more than just an action movie. This is a romance movie. This is a coming of age movie. This is a philosophical movie on a deep level, which sounds like a bunch of nonsense, but the reason why I'm exaggerating some of those things is because people who are give a rat's ass or spend their time really dealing in comedy realize there's only a couple different forms of comedy. There's exaggeration, which you had mentioned before with him falling for like 2 minutes, I think it was, down this hill, which we'll talk about in a moment. So you take something small, you exaggerate it. I think of Andy Kaufman where he was doing a talk show kind of gag, and he did it completely straight, where he was interviewing somebody and they were going back and forth in its normal interview. But the whole time you're watching, okay, what they did is he exaggerated what normally happens in these situations. He was at the interviewer's desk, like Johnny Carson, real famous with the pencil and all that, and he made this desk like 20 feet tall, and he's like sitting way up top looking down at the guy who's supposed to be his guest. So sometimes just little visual gags or how you implement it, I think, is the real interesting part with comedy. Because right now everything's written with three jokes, you're supposed to laugh with a laugh track and everything. And what's different about this movie, it has a little bit of a different kind of humor. There's some exaggeration in there, but there's a lot of what I call non sequiturs. So if you ask me what's 2 plus 2, and I said I love drinking milk, I mean, it doesn't answer it in any way whatsoever. But
Or I love the party,
exactly,
right?
and so let's get that's a take off of the Abbott and Costello, who's on first, what's on second, third base. I don't care, that routine. It's just like another version of it, and it's exactly that's actually a good description of what you're talking about there, an example of it. So this movie has a lot of jokes where they really went for broke, doing a lot of different things and things that didn't make sense. And there's actually a lot of dialogue that there's too much of it actually to even for me to stop and write down and go over because it flies pretty quick. Now, it's not like a verbal kind of movie like say Fletch is, for example, but Fletch has a combination of things and has a great performance. This one in here is about a guy that he's a he's not a dude bro, he's not a douchebag, he's just a guy that you can kind of relate to. I'm not going to say he's nerdy, but he's the kind of guy that you go, he's kind of likable, and so everybody else in the film has to be kind of not a jerk or mean, but they just have to kind of be like straight faced. And so you find yourself rooting for this guy to try to do this one thing successful, which is to complete a stunt. So the movie starts with him being like, um, starting off, and they hook you right off the bat, where he's going to go make this jump, and you're watching this, and you're like, okay, he's not going to make the jump. We know what's going to happen, but they go through the whole thing, and the visual of him just slamming his back into the ramp was like, oh my god, okay, maybe they won't do more of this in the movie. And I was wrong because you get plenty of this kind of cartoonish violence, and it's not graphic
Yes.
like disgusting. It's just okay, immediately within about 2 minutes what kind of movie you might be in for. But it does get better. It's a great way to start a movie. So what are your initial thoughts as the movie started?
Well, the best way to describe this is to be like you took like Weird Al's UHF and made it into a guy about a stuntman.
Yeah.
It's basically Super Dave. It's basically what it is. It's Super Dave. Except that this guy, Andy Samberg's character, believes that his dad was worked for Evil Knievel. We never really got any proof other than the photo that he says like, "This is my dad, Errol." Circle.
Yeah.
But, and like the way he described, like he's like telling her like, "Hey Denise, ever show you a picture of my dad?" He's like, "Oh, you gotta see it. He's super dead." I'm like, he's like, "Oh yeah, he used to work for Evil Knievel testing his bikes for the jumps. He would do jumps first, make sure they were safe, and let Evil Knievel come and take all the glory. After a while, my old man, he's like, to hell with that. I want credit and I deserve." So one afternoon, he set out to jump 10 milk trucks. He nailed the first takeoff, but when he landed, something terrible at him. His front tire exploded like a cannonball. His handlebars went straight through his head. Blood was everywhere. His teeth were ground to powder, and the front of his face exploded out the back of his skull. He died instantly the next day.
Yeah, he died instantly the next day. That's it. That's what I mean by that kind of dialogue. He died instantly the next day.
The whole freaking paragraph is like a 5-minute scene almost. Him just sitting there talking to her in a diner. Well, the guy's like, "Hey, I gotta go say hello to my buddy over there. Let's go say what up." Do you want to roll in there? He's supposed to douchebag, like the bad guy that Denise was dating a guy.
Will Arnett, who's perfectly made for this kind of role.
I know.
He's so good.
And what's funny is that like the fact that those two are like kind of dating in the movie. They're like brother and sister in Arrested Development.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I was like, whoa, we got a little incest going here.
Well, I tell you, the movie, right when he's getting ready to make this jump at the very beginning, before you even get the credits, and you're seeing this happen, you know it's going to fail. Um, it put a smile on my face too because he stops. He says like, spirit of the eagle or something, and this like eagle like flies over his head, and so I'm like, okay, this is kind of dumb, and you get a lot of this in the movie too, where they just put a little mystical kind of touch to it, which is kind of silly, but the one thing I want to say about this music or this movie is the music. The music is fantastic. It sounds like an '80s score. It's got some '80s bits in there. Trevor Rayburn, who's been around forever, did the music for it, but they've got some '80s tunes and some other things. It really what I liked about the music and the way it was put in here is that I think if you just watch this without much music going on at all, you might be like, "What's going on here? What's the jokes?" But somehow the music it kind of propels you from one scene to the next one a little bit. It's not a big build up to one big action scene and then kind of a relaxing thing where you can kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go take a leak now and then come back because they're not gonna do anything, after that big thing. This really kind of it's almost choppy, the editing. I don't know if it's real good or not, but it has a very good pace. It's tight and it moves fast, and it's a movie full of scenes. I mean, really. So Ian McShane's like the stepdad who's always beating the crap out of him when they fight once a week or whatever, and he keeps calling him like a wussy boy, and he just wants to be man. It's like, Dad, I want to beat your face in. But it's not mean. It's good spirited, but there's a sincerity with the way he's playing the character that you're like, yeah, okay. That's why I said this could be considered like a coming of
it,
age.
it kind of reminded me of a little bit of The Wedding Singer. The same situation where he likes the girl and then finds out she's got somebody. Then he's like, but he still gets the girl at the end.
Yep.
But this beginning is like, hey, did you reinforce the takeoff ramp? Oh, we don't really have time for it. Cool. Gonna jump the pool. Oh, I love it because he's like, we're gonna jump the pool, like it's like Fonzie jumping the shark.
And I forget what her character's name in there, Jenny or whatever. I'm gonna call her Red Dress Girl because she looks great in it in this movie. But
Denise.
is it Denise? That's it. So Denise, I guess, it just came back from college or something like that, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he's trying to be all smooth with her. Um, and so he goes to do a jump at the pool the next day, and of course that's like the same kind of thing, and it fails miserably. But he finds out when he gets home from this failure that his stepdad's like gonna die, and this is where you're like, okay, and Ian McShane's there, and it's like, well, we don't have insurance for the heart. It's gonna cost 50,000, and that's it. And he's like, wow, you just found out? She's like, no, we've known for about 20 years. He's like, and you didn't tell me? And she goes, well, yeah, we didn't think he could handle it. Well, did you tell like his brother? And she's like, yeah, we knew he could. It's like, and it's Sissy Spacek, and she just
Right.
plays it completely non-funny, which is great for the contrast. So that's the whole gist of the movie. He's going to perform one stunt successfully, a big, huge one, and he wants to honor his father, who worked supposedly with Evil Knievel by jumping 15 school trucks, one more than Evil Knievel's did, so he could raise the $50,000, and that's the whole MacGuffin to it, where the whole thing they got to chase. And so in the meantime, he, of course, has a bunch of training montages because that's
I
what starts
just
the whole thing off.
I just love it. And she's like, "Oh, look, it's nice to see him smile again." He's like, "Well, he won't be smiling when I murder him." It's like you think, okay, that joke's been played out like 5 times, 6 times now. It's like, dude, like they keep coming back. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kick your ass, Frank." It's like, what the hell?
He's like, and it wouldn't mean anything, because he's about to die. So he's just, I mean, but it's again, it's not evil like you're going, ooh, I hate Ian McShane. You just go, yeah, he's just being hard on the kid because he's turn him into a man. That's that old school mentality. Yeah, so he does. There's these training montages, and so before that, you get, he had when he found out the bad news about his stepfather. Um, it's like I need to go to my safe space, and he runs out into the woods, and they play this like '80s music, and he starts dancing, kind of like it's out of Footloose or whatever, and it's just like this goes on for a few minutes. You're right, it's totally exaggerated. And that's when he's falling down the hill, and then he hits his head, and then he sees like a billboard, and that's how he gets his shining moment, his moment of clarity of one jump, and he tells his crew about it, and his crews, they're lame but they're funny, and they're just sort of there, but I think they're a good posse, so they go through all this bit, and then the training montages are just stupid stuff, like in the way they say it, like they're filling up a kiddie pool, And it's like I have to be in top physical condition. I'm going to hold my breath for 40 seconds, which is 20 seconds
For
less than a
seconds.
minute. And it's like, why do you even say that?
He's like, when I ring this bell, you let me up. He's like,
And you
he
know
pulled
the
it
bell's
out.
not going to ring. And the thing is after 10 seconds, he's already
He's like,
drowning.
I love it. He's like, she gives him mouth. Denise gives giving him mouth to mouth, and he's like, and he pukes all over. And he's like, he was like, dude, did it look like we were making out? It's like, yeah, kind of. It's like sweet. It's like, what is he like, 15 years old? It's
I
like this whole
know.
movie. I mean, and when he's fighting against Frankie down in the basement, he's like, he's like, and he says to Frank, he's like, oh yeah, all great men have mustaches. It's like, yeah, but real men actually grow them. He's like, you know,
You
I
don't
have
have
a
a hormone
hormonal
imbalance.
disorder.
Yeah, there's so many great lines like that. Um, yeah, so of course, they're going along doing this, and then there's, where they're trying to raise a certain amount of money to fund the stunt itself, and so they need like $5,000. So there's a great scene in there where he's going to like a child's party, and like like okay, a stunt man doing a stunt or something stupid for the kids, like a dumb clown or whatever. Kids got to have it, and all that. But he's being set on fire, and he's running through the banner, and the kids are terrified because he's falling to the ground while they're all there with the fire extinguishers putting him
Uh,
out. This is awesome.
and this is a preview. We get to see Danny McBride with explosives, because remember he did the same thing in Tropic Thunder. He was the demolition guy.
Rico, I
So
think, right, in this movie.
he played Rico in this, and
Hmm.
he's like, he eared it up. It's like some like retirement party or whatever it was. Like, it's this camp thing, and Sandberg's up in this little like tree for like almost like a not a fort, but it's basically like a tree stand, for like usually people use it for like guards, lookout stuff.
Hmm.
And he's got a wired exploding. And for whatever reason, he just like, I'm just gonna blow it up. He
He
couldn't.
heard
He
wrong
probably,
and blew him right out of the giant guard station.
it's like, uh,
Well, yeah, this is nonstop. I mean, Denise gets initiated, so which is him just throwing his icy all over her foot. So she's in the crew, so she's like helping out, and of course, he's fallen in love with her and everything, and of course she's dating Will Arnett, who's a great tool, and Will Arnett doesn't overdo it. He plays it more the smarmy way, which is perfect for this movie. But yeah, it turns out that the other guy, his brother, whose name I don't remember either, he's taping everything, so. And this is actually 2007, so this is when YouTube was taking off, starting to, and we didn't know what it would be at the time. But he's like, yeah, I made a movie of it. Let's raise money by putting it in the movie house. So they have all these stupid scenes of him while he was training and stuff, and all the fans are laughing and this and that. And then he goes, uh-oh. He feels like the joke is on him. They're laughing at him, not with him. So he gets pissed off,
yeah.
and he destroys it, and he has to send all their money away. And then he gets the bad news from his mom that, well, I'm sorry, I should have told you a long time ago, but your father never was a stunt man. He was like something totally unrelated, and he died like choking on cheese or something dumb. And so, he's like, this is the point where he feels beside himself, and he can't, ever live up to his dream. It's been crushed, and who is he? And then, of course, he gets the speech from his clan because he's let them all down. He's like, who am I going to build ramps for? And Bill Hader's in it, is the other dude. And he's like, look at him, you're making him cry. And this is when I thought Bill Hader was mildly entertaining. I don't know about now, but this movie goes so fast. It's only like 90 minutes or whatever, but these scenes just go boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom through it. So while we're watching the middle part of the movie, what are you thinking about what's going on here?
I'm just wondering how much is ad lib, and I'm looking at the IMDb page. There was an ad lib thing in here. He did when he's gonna ride his bike for the date with Kathy. He's singing, "Oh, when you're going to date, you got to put on a shirt and ride
Mm.
your bike to the date." He just improvised that the whole entire thing. Um, and then I guess there's some goofs in here too. Well, as far as us, in the scene before goes to jump the pool, he's talking to Denise, and there appears to be a towel next to the ramp. However, when he goes to the top of the ramp, the towel is missing.
Oh,
So,
continuity stuff, yeah.
so somebody goofed, and you're like, "Quick, we got to get rid of this." Like maybe no one noticed. Like that again, like I would have left it in. Yeah, like purposely. Maybe they did. Like, dude, we don't care about this movie. We're just gonna make money regardless.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so basically, his troop kind of rallies him up, and he sees the light, and he's like, okay. and he's going to go do this. So he's going to they're working real hard to raise the money for the big jump, and because of how the movie went, a local radio station caught on to it, so they wanted to sponsor it. And it's the guy that plays the that's the voice of the one dude in Archer, and he's been in a bunch of stuff or whatever. And he's a creep dude. But the point, he's there, of course, to fund the movie and everything. So they get to where they set this up, and you see all the trucks, and you see everybody's come out there, and they actually souped up his moped. I think they actually got him a regular dirt bike this time because the moped has no speed. That's the whole point. You can't do any stunts with the moped unless you're a clown. But so we're at this big final scene, and he's getting the crowd all pumped up. He's got his fake mustache on and his stupid little cape and all, and everyone's going crazy. He's like, "Who wants to see a stunt?" And he's hyping them all up. And so he gets all the way to the top, and you're like, "Well, we know he's got to be successful because it's a comedy, so it's probably going to have a happy ending." Um, and then probably the funniest scene that I just didn't remember isn't the fact that he makes the jump. He summons all the five spirit animals that he's dealt with, and they imbibe him with all this energy. So he's flying down the ramp, and he jumps, and of course Denise is now with him. She dumped her boyfriend, and they kissed and all that, so he's all fired up, and he makes the jump, and he's got all the speed, and he's halfway through, the crowd's going wild, and they're all looking at him, and she's like looking at him, and he looks at her, and he gives her the thumbs up, and then it looks at her, and she looks like she's not happy, and then the camera goes back to him while he's got the thumbs up, and the camera zooms back, and you realize that
The biter.
he's totally separated from his bike. So the bike flies and like takes out the heavy metal band, and then he lands.
You know what that was?
No,
I
it's
think
a
that was-
band. I know that it's not Europe.
No,
I don't think it's somebody
No,
else.
no. That was the Dan band from old school. And what was the other one? Oh, they're in Starsky and Hutch. The same guys.
Okay, yeah, they said they're dressed up with the hair. They're the hair band that we're talking about here. Even though Europe's got a lot of music in this movie, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, so he kind of lands, and the counter goes to 50,000, so he knows he's raised the money, but the crowd's like whatever, and the guy's like, I hope they didn't have an argument with his friends because he appears to be dead, and all this voiceover stuff's going on. So they're like, Rod, and they're like, well, we've got no vitals. And then one guy says, oh, he must be having an out-of-body experience. Rico says that, I think. And so, of course, it flashes in his brain. He's walking around, and it's white everywhere. And one of his buddies is like, don't go to the white light, which is going to God. It's stupid. So there was a very important speech, or question, really not a speech, that he had asked Denise early on about
Yes.
preferences, whether a taco or a grilled cheese sandwich. And she says, well, if it's a straight up fight, it's a grilled cheese sandwich. And he's like, thinking she failed the test. She goes, but if it's street rules, it's the taco. So in his dream that he's having, this out of body experience where he's dressed in all white and got that glowy, glossy effect, all of a sudden this friggin' taco is standing there waving at him, and then this giant grilled cheese sandwich comes out and starts punching the taco. So the taco and the grilled cheese sandwich are fighting it out, and then after several chair shots to finish it off, with blood squirting everywhere, the taco wins and he regains consciousness.
Yeah,
It's so bizarre.
Yeah, it was supposed to be blood, but it's actually ketchup just coming out.
Yeah, but I mean, it's supposed to be like a head wound.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah,
Oh,
that's
man.
that's pretty much the whole movie. I mean, he gets the money. Him and his father actually have a pretty epic fight there at the end, and he finally gets Ian McShane to his stepfather to say, say I'm a man, say I'm a man. He goes, you're a man, and my son, and he goes to shake his son's hand, but then he, of course, gives him the whatever. Well, forget the name of the title. The five punch, Wing
Yeah.
Chun punch of
The
crapping your
the
pants,
type-
whatever it was called.
Yeah, the tight pants and what move they can make you grown man crap his pants without knowing it.
But somehow Denise knew and was teaching him because she was like his spirit mentor as they were coming closer, practicing Tai Chi. That's it, guys. I mean, that's the movie right there. That's the whole thing.
The safe word is whiskey.
What?
What?
Why are you saying that?
Say what? Weird.
No, I mean, This is a movie that's just worth watching. It's really funny. It's a different kind of humor that's out there today. So some people might go, I don't get it. And I hate the spoon fed kind of comedy. Timing in comedy can be important as well as, whatever. But this, honestly, it's a light film. Hot Rod is a likable character. His buddies are somewhat grounded in reality. This is not stupid over the top. Some of the scenes are heavily exaggerated, but the point you said at the beginning, feels like an 80s film, like it's set in the 80s, and the music is fantastic. All the tons of Europe songs there, not the final countdown, but
No.
rock, some rock something's in it, and they have another one that's in there too, and some other musical things. I mean, they have a lot of stuff, and it's just weird. There's a scene where they're walking to the final thing, and a riot breaks out in the middle of their downtown, and there's there's bagpipes playing, and then there's looting, and then there's car bombings, and there's
The
helicopters
whole
flying overhead. And you're like, what the hell's going on? Why is this in here?
the
Stupid.
whole time I was watching Bill Hader's character. He played Dave.
Hmm.
I'm just sitting there watching. He's looking around. He's like, "What the hell's going on? People are just following us first." He's like, they're singing along with the song, and yeah, and as he turns around, there, all of a sudden, there's a fight breaks out. Either old guy got his wheelchair stolen out from under him.
I mean,
It's just like
it's like watching The
like
Purge. No, I
uh,
wasn't sure if you were gonna like this kind of movie too, because I still don't know what all the
I
movies you like. But I
it's
love this movie. I think it's fantastic.
I like it. I like it for the basic unique. I'm not gonna say I like it's what it is. It's a stupid comedy. Um, would I say it's one of my favorites? No, but it's still something I can laugh at and watch. Every
I
now and
think it's much better than say Baywatch, and Baywatch I kind of liked. We had talked about that recently on our top 10 Tuesday lists.
Well, yeah, Baywatch had boobs though.
Yeah, I mean, but you've seen one boob, you've seen them all, right?
I guess so. If you want to live like that way.
Final thoughts,
Oh,
Doctor, while we're talking boobs.
final thoughts. Dees, she looks shitty. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody, and be sure, watch Hot Rod. Tell us what you think. We can revisit this movie in detail and do a watch along as far as I'm concerned. It's that damn good of a movie. Hot Rod
It's
2007, Adam
it's
Sandberg. Hmm?
it's the coolest of beans.
Cool beans. Ciao.
Cool beans.
Cool beans.
Beans.
All right, good night, everybody.